And my guest today, to my delight, is none other than Miss Diana McIntyre. And some of you might be familiar with her personally, and the world at large should be familiar with her from a professional point of view based on how she has impacted our community in Jamaica as well as in the Caribbean. And when I say impacted, I mean impacted an industry as a pioneer. So before I get deep into a question and an answer session with Miss Diane, I'm going to ask her just to give you a brief background as how she became so dominant as a representative of what we would call the lifestyle of Jamaica. So, Miss Diane, welcome to SosoBone Media Network.
Thank you very much. I like the fact that you call your program SosoBone because it really motivates us to say how it was. Yes. and how we're moving forward. I'm from the parish of Westmoreland originally, and my mother was a pioneer in the grill. She had cottages there before anyone else had it. And I grew up in the guest house that she had. She had 3 guest houses, but I grew up in the 3rd one that she had put together when she had closed off the other one. And what I recognized is that when the guests came there, they were not just there for the place, they enjoyed the community, and she made sure about that. They went to church, they went to the supermarket, whatever we did, the lifestyle was part of it. Yes. We didn't call it community tourism then until I studied overseas and in Europe, both in Germany and the UK. So that's where I have my degree and so on. And what is very interesting is that when I came back home from the UK, is that I went to a job at Holiday Inn, which was 1973. I became the guest relations director, and noticed after 3 months that there was nothing in Jamaica there. And so I said, no, man, this is not good. I was sort of embarrassed, to be honest with you. And it was then the largest hotel in Jamaica. So I created the Jamaica Chit Chat session, which was an educational session about our country. Of course, I took up my school books again and brush up everything for the presentation. And I invited community people to come and participate, and they could, help to answer some of the questions, etc. But what was amazing is that it was supposed to be once a week. And the manager at the time said, while it's a good session, he thinks that I'm going to be wasting my time. He says that, most of the people want to come and land a beach, drink rum, and have a good time. I said, sir, that is so, but they also want to know about our country. And he gave me permission to set up an information center in the lobby because the people wanted ongoing information. And I had community persons who volunteered to manage the information center in the lobby. And we had a list of people who wanted to go out to enjoy Jamaican food because we didn't have any Jamaican food in there at the time, which has changed because that is, in the hotels now we have Jamaican food, but at the time it was not there. And he got concerned about that because he said, you have 3 restaurants and it's against the policy of then Holiday Inn. And I want to make it clear, I'm not talking about the present Holiday Inn, I'm talking about the past Holiday Inn. And he said that people cannot be going outside to eat. So it was not an all-inclusive, by the way, so it was quite all right for them to go outside. In the end result is that Abisa, the late Abisa, paid attention to me. And, after a year, and he says he would like me to come and work with him at Runaway Bay Hotel and implement the program there. And so I went off to Runaway Bay and implemented the program. But I should mention, because of what I was doing, I was awarded a German scholarship. Wow. Because a lot of Germans were coming in, but the Americans were afraid of Jamaica because the Michael Mann, the politics was
Yes.
giving them a hard time. But anyway, I decided to eventually go because my family said I should go and learn another language and so on. So I went and I saw where communities were part of the experience of everybody. And I went all over Europe, Italy, everywhere.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, sir, I just got crazy. I said, man, I want to have this in my country. And when I came back to Jamaica, I was offered big jobs. ABS wanted me back. And I said, no, 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 I'm going to implement something else here. And I met Desmond Henry, the late Desmond Henry, who was then the director of tourism. And I mentioned it to him, and he said he supports it. And we formed together South Coast Marketing Limited. And I started my hotel dining room, the Astra Country, and created the name Community Tourism. And from then, we marketed, and to the International Institute for Peaceful Tourism, which embraced it, they confirmed and endorsed Jamaica as the home of community tourism and had me come to Montreal to their second summit. This is important because people want to know how the name got out. That 1994, it got out. At that summit, 700 delegates got the information. And the IPT decided to have a chapter outside of North America and had me as a president, which I still am, of the Caribbean chapter. And they created the IIPT International Community Tourism Network, which I am the coordinator of. And I'm very excited about that because that, they involve with a whole heap of countries here. And we have been working together for over 30 years now. And their communications coordinator, Risa Sultani, very nice. And Luther Moore is the president and founder. And the communications man has decided to create, this is great news, International Community Tourism Association.
Wow.
That's right. And what is good about that is that it involves over 70 countries. And the Caribbean chapter, I am now the president, and I'm supposed to appoint a director for each parish, for each island that I have had a relationship with, which is quite a few. So I chose 5 islands. And the one in Dominica was the first one I went to. William McLawrence was the one who took me around Dominica. I've asked him to be a vice president because he has the knowledge of the Caribbean and he's committed. You have to have the passion. If you don't have the passion, you can't be a part of what I do. It's not just having a position. You have to have a passion. So that's what has happened. So it's evolved, and we have now a program called Villages as Businesses, which has now taken worldwide attention. The UN had me present it in New York, and the UN man looked at me and said, you have created a program that the world needs, because we're showing how we can have businesses, and our training program in entrepreneurship has now been endorsed and certified by the UWI Open Campus. And it's a 5-day. We just need 5 days to lay the foundation, and then they do a research on their community and then form a steering committee for their communities that they will now be managing the community as a business. That is the whole approach. And then they will be ongoing partners with us so that they can move forward in a positive way and not be dependent on just the government. The government can participate if they wish to, but they are in charge. So when you go to them, they're the ones to be accountable and to understand the importance of setting up a business plan which covers everything they need, whether they need a road, whatever they need must be there. And then that, we market that. You say like marketing. So we market that.
Yes.
Say it comes to 10 million for the community. Then we can say, okay, the MP can give 2 million. Then the 8 million, we have to market to the diaspora, because the diaspora is our main market that we're looking at for investment. And as a result of that, we've set up a fund called Community Tourism Fund, ComFund, and the diaspora is taking charge of it, and they're registered it in North America. And the interest from that will go towards community projects and business, low interest and grant funding. So that's where I am at the moment. Okay.
Well, my mind is going out of control, because some of the comments I hear in my mind is, so why didn't they make you the Ministry of Tourism in Jamaica?
No, I've been offered positions, sir. Yeah. I was offered director of tourism twice, and I turned it down because when you're in those positions, you cannot express yourself as you wish.
But you still need people with vision to head up those departments. And when I say vision, I don't mean external vision, because you're talking about the internal development that includes not only the leisure part of it, but the education part of it.
Yeah, man. We're networkers. That's why we call it CountryStyle Community Tourism Network.
Okay, so now the focus is to take this brainchild, this pioneering passion that you have been carrying along for so long. You want to now let the diaspora claim it.
Yes, I want that.
Okay, take ownership of it.
Yes.
To the extent that when we start talking about things Jamaica, doing things in Jamaica, we start with country style community tourism, because in that sense we know that we are going back to our roots.
You better believe it. I mean, we have some roots experiences that is amazing, that the children of diaspora people who have not been brought up in Jamaica, we can expose that to them. And I should mention to you that I think the importance is that they will not be taken anywhere that's not okay, not safe. So we are the ones who will be accountable for that experience that they would like to have. And I'm now going to be 72 this year, okay? So I really want to have a strong partnership with those who care and who have a passion for Jamaica.
Well, there's a strong interest, as you all know, from the diaspora in the development of Jamaica. And our frustration knows no bounds because, one, there's a question of trust. And most of the time, we are being exposed to people who sometimes comes with a background of not tied to corruption. So we have never been able to, well, not complete this 100%, but we're not exposed to people like you coming into our diaspora, speaking at diaspora events, talking about what is happening with our people, not with the government, okay, but with our people, talking about things that we can do to nurture and to educate, as well as to enlift our people. Most of the times when we have major events, the focus has been on people like ministers of government, prime ministers. And typically, I will say that when they stand on the stage for 25 or 30 minutes, 5 minutes after they leave the stage, we don't remember a word they said.
Yeah, yes. I can imagine.
No, we 2 days after, a week after, we don't even remember who the guest speaker was. So sometimes that tells you the lack of relationship between their presence and our interest in Jamaica. Now, when something bad happens in Jamaica, it does not only reflect on our population in Jamaica, it reflects on the diaspora.
Yes.
And what the diaspora has been searching for and looking for is a way to balance, okay? Because when they can identify the good that they're doing, it balances any negative that might come up at different times, okay?
Yes.
So we have always had talk about examples of doctors coming down and nurses coming down, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks to do clinics and to do different things. We talk about the way we vacation in Jamaica, that the diaspora sends so much remissions down to Jamaica. But when it is said and done, we still talk about the fact that we are just doing band-aids.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. We have Pick a Project while on vacation and Adopt a Village program. And the Pick a Project, we had not just that, so other people coming and enjoyed helping community projects while on vacation. Right. So that is a very important part of it. And the diaspora, they have roots in different communities, so we can make the linkages there and ensure that their communities are taken care of with the training and development that we have, because we have an institute called the Academy for Community Tourism, and that has a basic hospitality skills training. We teach them how to groom themselves. We teach them how to be smart, and the young people to be more alert and to understand the importance of understanding how their community is, you know, the roots of their community. And some of them now are speaking to their grandparents. They never used to speak to them before, because they want to be able to talk about their community, and they couldn't do that before. So that is something that they find attractive, because they were so excited when I finished training some of them that they said, oh my God, I didn't know that my community had so much to offer. Right. I know they can talk about it, because how can you be a spokesperson if you don't know your community and your country? That's part of my passion that I have for educating people. And the visitor loves that, because they are now educated about the community. And, you know, we had TUI, the largest operator in the world, who came to us through Caribbean Vacations at the time. And we have a tour that we organized in Orange Bay, a village in the Negril area. And the first stop was the hairdressing salon. Then we went to the basic school. Then we went to the prep school. That they want to stay an hour in each school, because they want to be in the classroom. They want to, you know, if they're playing cricket, whatever they want to participate. And then we went to the church, and then saw the importance of religion and Christianity in Jamaica. And then from there now we went to the community bar. And the community bar, we taught them how to make the real rum punch, 1 ounce sour, 2 ounce sweet, 3 ounce strong, and 4 weak. There, because you don't have the white rum there, which was there. And they interacted with the community there as well. And then from there we went to the community restaurant, where they had the Jamaican food, and then they were able to hear about how it's done and so on. And then we did dancing for 15 minutes, which showed them how we have a passion for dance. And, you know, I think I told you before when we spoke that I'm known as the dancing queen of the Caribbean because of my passion for dancing. Cha-cha, merengue, name it. Because when I'm dancing in the Caribbean, I think I'm from that country, right? But that's how I was brought up. My family brought us up as a dancing family. And then from there, now they are able to market the community as the lifestyle experience. And they go back to other guests and tell them about it. And they get excited. And they come back again and have a party at the bar and eating at the restaurant and so on. So you're, in a sense, you're creating marketing ambassadors from the community, but also for the guests themselves. Because they said that we have seen how Jamaicans live. That's what they want. We don't have to create attractions. We are the attractions. We are amazing people.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And simultaneously, you know, I mean, some of us have been in the diaspora for so long that we do not even know what is happening in our villages.
That's right.
So when we are coming down, we are booking to stay in hotels outside of our community, because we do not know of the existence of our country, of our country style services that are available.
That's the point. The service, because we have homestays, we have small hotels, you know, like Jake's in Treasure Beach and other hotels there. I mean, the amount of places that we can make you stay and enjoy the community, and we allow them, if they want to include the all-inclusive, that's fine, because the all-inclusive likes our program, because they know that the guests will be fine when they come out with us. And we can do combination packages, like 5 days at the all-inclusive and 2 days with us in the community. That is something that they need to understand, the diaspora. We are able to create the community lifestyle experience packages from any hotel, any accommodation, even from the home of their family.
Well, of course, you know, listen, if I know that coming down and staying in a CountryStyle affiliated lodging is going to ensure that early morning I have five Julie mango.
Yeah.
You know, that I will have access to Julie mangoes and East Indian mangoes.
That's right. That's right.
Listen, I mean, that's a seller right there. Robert Stevens, welcome to SosoBone Radio. You can
Oh, I'm glad
unmute
that Robert
yourself.
has come on. Yeah, what I wanted to tell you is that Butch Stewart remains the only hotelier that came, like of his size, that came to our community lifestyle experience in Resource Village in South Manchester. Valerie Dixon, I told you about her, that we have to have her interviewed because
Yes.
she did an amazing job where she created a fair for 16 years, a Marcus Garvey fair, because some of the roots are there with Marcus Garvey. And we have the Chinos as well. We've got the Chinos that came from Puerto Rico to be a part of our program. But what I wanted you to know is that he was so impressed that he took a picture of himself helping to make the bami from the cassava. And he ate in the community and he said, my God, this is an amazing experience. And he supported it. And I came up with the Adopt a Small Hotel program when I was the chairman of the Small Hotels Committee of the Caribbean Hotel Association, which is now the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association. I came up with an Adopt a Small Hotel program initiative, and he was the only one in the whole Caribbean that supported it. And my small hotel was alive then, and he gave us 7 rooms of furniture, and he also gave us a credit line to be able to buy the thing. And we're going to restart that program, because let me tell you something. The amount of things we can do as partners and also to support initiatives. Now, I invited Robert Stevens to come on this program because he has an amazing initiative that he created with the Port Royal. And I think it's important that he mentions to you about that. That's an idea.
Well, actually, we hear that Port Royal is booming right now. So, Robert, the diaspora is excited about what we have heard so far. We've been waiting for this, let's put it that way. And the fact that it is such an unknown presence in the diaspora, when I say unknown, the fact that we have not had Diana or Robert up here at our major events talking about what is happening among our people. We are always inundated with government ministers who most of the time we know what they're doing to begin with anyway. Okay? So the fact that we are not getting access, okay, to this type of institutionalized on-the-ground development, for me, it's a problem, okay? Because it means that we are not using the data that is coming from your operation to make the decisions that we make, okay? Lack of that data eats us below the belt. So, Robert, tell us, you might want to give us a quick background on yourself for our listeners, and then tell us how you impact what is happening and how we can impact what you're doing.
Well, let me tell you, my argument is this, right? My background is in engineering and business and various other areas, but the background is not as important as understanding that if you want to have sustainable development of your industry and your country, what you have got to do is make sure that the benefits accrue to the people.
Right.
What is happening with our model of development of tourism now is that you're having a lot of enclave tourism. In other words, it's taking place on the beaches on the North Coast, it's taking place on the South Coast, where you have these fabulous facilities, but across the road, you have ghetto, and you have situations where people don't have water, they don't have sewage, they don't have any proper access to their own homes. So those are things that we have to address, right? Because it's clear that that type of situation is not benefiting the communities that surround the developments. Where we have got to go with our development of tourism is more along the lines where it is understood from the outset that whatever is taking place has got to think about the total package, not just the hotel or the resort. You have to think about the workers' housing. You have to think about the communities surrounding. What are the situations that you're going to open up in terms of attractions? How are you going to move people out of the hotels into the community to be able to spread the wealth? Because what is happening now is that the only people that are really benefiting to any great extent are the hotel workers and a few others on the periphery. The fact is, tourism can be much more impactful if it is thought of as a package deal that can really begin to address some of the root causes of our problems in Jamaica.
Okay.
We have a lot of things that we have inherited from slavery, where people captured land and all that, you know. In collaboration with people in the various industries in the private sector, as well as government through the housing trust, for instance, we can begin to convert all of these ghetto areas and squatter areas into viable and very vibrant communities. What people want is security of tenure. What they want is they need to know that the land and the property and the building that they're occupying is transferred to them in some way. It don't have to be a title. It can be a 30-year lease.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But government must begin to move and deal with these issues in a very comprehensive and holistic way, and recognize that by developing our people at the community level, we are going to develop the entire country, because what will happen is that everybody will rise together. Right. What is happening now is that you're getting a situation where there is an increase in the, shall we say, the rich versus the poor. What you're having is a situation where you have a set of people in the upper middle class and the upper class that are investing in various developments that are making up a whole heap of money, right? But that money is not spreading to the masses of the population. They're getting it's not Jamaica's problem, you know. It's a problem with the capitalist system internationally. You see it in the United States, where 20 people will own 30% of the total GDP of the United States. Right? And when you check it out, these 20 or 30 people now can decide whether they're going to be philanthropic or they're going to be just looking for themselves or what. But that's not the way the world needs to run. What we need to do is we need to look at a more equitable way of taking care of our brothers and sisters, and not just, you know, looking for more riches for ourselves, and don't begin to look out and understand what is happening in some of these really rundown areas. Right? There are people out there who are starving. There are people who cannot send their children to school because they can't afford even the bus fare, much less the lunch money, right? We need to begin to change our outlook, and government must lead the way. The big problem is that you get these big announcements and all that, you know, minimum wage going to $13,000. You know what $13,000 in Jamaican is?
Peanuts.
Peanuts, right?
Peanuts.
Reality is this, that those big announcements to me are just political, you know, I don't know what to call it. The fact is,
we call it gerrymandering, because when I heard, honestly, without criticism, because most of the people know I don't criticize, I analyze, and then I look at the solution that should come from it. And when I hear that you're going to have a 44% increase in the minimum wage, that alone exposes the fact that minimum wage was starvation wages.
Precisely.
Because if it was a decent minimum wage, 10% would have been the number you're talking about, not 44%.
Correct. Anyway, the point I'm making is that it's not just tourism, but we have to look at all our industries. How are we preparing for a way that we can get all our people's standard of living improved? Whether, you know, even when you look at the BPO business, the BPO business is great right now. But the reality is this, you know, where we are moving with ChatGPT and various other AI systems, you are going to find that a lot of these organizations are going to invest in IT solutions where people can call and ask questions and get answers from a computer. They're not going to be dealing with individuals. So we have to think about moving up the value chain in terms of the IT industry. And if we get caught in a situation where we are focusing only on BPO type business, we're going to be in serious trouble in a few years. You remember when we had a 807 business in Jamaica that was thriving, and almost overnight it collapsed.
Mhm.
The fact is that we have got to begin to prepare for what is coming down the tubes internationally.
Yes.
When you look at, for instance, what we're doing to our country in the bauxite alumina sector, we are dispossessing rural people in lands where they are cultivating and having a fabulous rural life. And what we do, we come in with some big bulldozer, tear down everything, scrape off the red dirt, and then basically give the people back nothing. I mean, it's peanuts them getting.
And health problems.
And you have all the health problems and all that associated.
That's
We
right.
need to have strategic thinkers in charge of government that are now looking at how are we going to replace the bauxite alumina industry.
Thank you.
We should not be looking at expanding it. We should not be looking at allowing it to survive. What we should be looking at is how are we going to phase it out, okay? Because it is doing so. This country is one of the most beautiful in the world, the land of water. We are depleting our water. We are depleting our wood. We have so many. I mean, look at, if you live in Kingston and you look up on the hills recently, we had fires almost every night.
Wow.
Okay. What is that cause from? We as a country started doing things that are foreign. Okay. We allowed our forestry department to plant a thing called Caribbean pine because they thought that it was great for us to have a lumber industry. Let them plant Caribbean pine all over the mountains of Jamaica. Caribbean pine is something that if you check it out, when it dries and it drops at the bottom of the tree, is like a fire hazard.
Yes.
In addition to that, we have allowed most of our natural forests to be taken over by bamboo. Now, those two, when you put them together and then have a dry spell, is like if you drop a match
against gasoline.
Mountainside gone. Okay? So we need to rethink what we are doing at Jamaica Conservation Development Trust is we are replanting the natural forest with seedlings that come from the forest. In other words, we're not putting in things that come from foreign or anywhere else. We're putting in things that are Jamaican. It's important for us to, whatever we're doing, think about the future of our children and grandchildren, and we have got to ensure that our communities thrive. Our people at the grassroots level are the major beneficiaries of anything we're doing. And what we have gone and done is lost focus. We are more interested in giving all kind of incentives to foreign investors to come in here to continue the perpetuation of exploitation. That's basically what we're doing, right? In fact, 90% of our industries in Jamaica are controlled by foreigners.
That is something that we speak about and we have spoken about, you know, in different discussions, okay, that we have had on this platform. When we heard that one imported chicken was costing $2,000 in a supermarket, you know, it shocked some of us. I've had past members of the administration who have disclosed the fact that there were children who were not going to school because they had no shoes or they had no breakfast. And again, that was shocking to us because even as we talk about diaspora members coming back to Jamaica, most of them are going to come back with their eyes glowing at Jamaica nice. Jamaica nice. And like Jamaica is nice. Jamaica was nice from with Arawaks and the Caribs were there.
All right.
So if you're talking about the temperature and the beaches and the sun, no, that was always there. Nobody comes back and talking about the inner cities.
Correct.
Because everyone who goes come down there as a tourist.
All right, let me just make a statement right now. We have some changes taking place that are very positive, but they're not taking place by the leaders of the country.
Okay.
You are finding NGOs and organizations like CountryStyle that are making an impact in communities. Okay?
Yes.
We have a group now called Kingston Creative that is working in downtown Kingston. And I don't know if you have seen all the images of all the murals and all that. But
yes, beautiful and at Water Street and those places.
Absolutely. It's now spreading throughout the whole of downtown.
Yes.
People who are in the so-called ghetto areas are now feeling pride in their communities and are now developing some self-worth. They are brought, some of them are very creative, and they're being brought on board as creators of the murals, etc. And they express themselves based on their experiences. No. So positive things are happening.
Yes.
Don't misunderstand me. But when we focus on the fact that GDP is growing, and you know the country is doing well, and this and that and the other, and we're not thinking about how it is spreading throughout the community and how it is spreading throughout the country, we are on the wrong path. Let me tell you the truth. My opinion now is that all of us need to focus on something. We need to start discussing the new paradigm for Jamaica.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to start talking about a new constitution. This foolishness about retaining the king and retaining our links to a foreign judgment, right? Where we have to go privy council if we want to get things done. That's crazy. We need to move very rapidly, but very carefully towards restructuring our governance systems in this country. We have had a situation where it was divide and rule, which was created by our masters in England, who said, look, the best way to control all the masses and the black people in Jamaica is let them fight amongst each other.
Okay.
So we have two tribes now. We have the JLP tribe and the PNP tribe, and they must fight amongst each other. You realize that the last election, which was called during COVID, deliberately, okay, brought out 30% of the people in Jamaica to vote. All right. 21% voted for the JLP. And 17% voted for the PNP. That means 60 odd, nearly 70%
voted with their feet.
And a lot of them were young people.
They voted with their feet. They voted not to go.
What we need to do is we need to mobilize to get everybody involved in the process of creating a new paradigm, number one. Number two, we have got to recognize that we cannot have a continuation of this fighting against each other.
Thank you.
We start looking at communities and let communities select the person who is best to represent them, whether them be PNP, JLP, or PIP, or whatever kind of UP or whatever. The fact is, you choose the best person who can represent you. And what you do is you have a debate in the community level where people present their positions. What are they going to do? And what we also have to do is hold them to what them said they're going to do. Because 90% of the politicians them promise the world and then don't deliver. It's like, you know, we're going to sleep with our doors open. Foolishness. What kind of fool statement is that? When you know that the situation with crime in Jamaica, you have come forward. The only thing you can put on the table is SOE.
Yeah.
That is absolutely ridiculous. And it looks so bad internationally and to the diaspora. You're having states of emergency all over the place in Jamaica. There's almost every week in Jamaica, you have a state of emergency in some community. That not smell good. It not look
terrible. Terrible.
And by the way, plenty of these SOEs, you know, them go into the ghetto areas, yes. And what them do is, them just take youth off of the street, you understand? And sometimes them lock them up for months. Them don't face no court or nothing. That is not the solution. We've got to ensure that we spend a lot more time on looking at what the problems are and how we can solve them. And by the way, we have plenty of the things at our fingertips, you know.
Oh, yes.
The National Housing Trust is sitting down on $200 billion, right? Housing is a major important need in this country. We can mobilize funds tomorrow morning and have a national program of urban upgrading, right? And focus a lot of our attention on the improvement of the ghettos and begin to take money and put into education and preparing people for the job market and putting them through some kind of service where they can be trained, right? But we're not doing that. What we're doing? We're talking about, oh, we're going to build another 8,000 rooms in new hotels on the North Coast. And it's all inclusive.
The concrete jungle.
and plenty of these things, are owned by foreigners. The money don't come to Jamaica, right? It kept in foreign.
Well, I mentioned that earlier.
What comes to Jamaica is the amount to pay a little bit of the taxes, a little head tax, and some of the staff, right? Because what you're doing is you're creating a situation where, as I said, a lot of this is perpetuating our subservience and our basic thing of exploitation, right? What we have to do is get some serious people in government who are going to be thinking not about themselves and them friend and them family, right? Which is rampant right now, but thinking about the development of our country for the people of the country, and stop thinking about them own back pocket and driving a new BMW and telling everybody, look at me, man, I've reached. Yeah, I'm foolish. We need to have people who are serious about development of our people. You understand?
Robert,
so now you understand why I asked Robert to come, because he's saying everything we support.
I'm looking for Robert. Just yesterday, Robert, I interviewed Dennis Hilton, Hilton Dennis. You might know Dennis Hilton. He was president of the PSA, Press Association Jamaica for a while. He's in diaspora. He's a journalist. Yes, I've just posted the interview I did with him last night on our platform, the www.sosobone.com. You can look at that at your leisure. And these are some of the issues and some of that it doesn't matter who you speak to. When you speak to people who are prepared to speak truth to fact,
and who have the passion,
they're itching on the same things.
Yeah.
Okay, and these are the people that the diaspora does not have access to.
Okay? But Paddy, I can tell you something. You see, I've worked at almost every public sector organization in Jamaica. When I say that, a whole heap of them, right? I've been at the Port Authority, I've been at UDC,
and don't forget about Director of Tourism.
Director of Tourism, yeah, but that was like in a previous life, 1990 to 92. When I look on it the other day, I said, oh, that boy, imagine. But the point is this, that the solutions are here, What we need is leaders with the will and the focus on the development of our least common people in this country, the people that are neglected, the people that are left in a corner to go fight for themselves to just find 2 bread to rotted to eat. You understand? A lot of our leaders is pure flash. We have ministers of government who think that it's really, they have arrived because them are police outrider driving through traffic, blowing them horn and them siren and telling everybody, move out of the way, move out of the way. We are come. Prime Minister, drive behind me. Move your ass. That's not the way we are to run a country, right? A Prime Minister must be humble. A Prime Minister must recognize that him should not be, touting the fact that him have the prettiest Benz and the prettiest this and the prettiest that. What him should be doing is trying to find ways to deal with some of the issues that face the common man out there every day.
Yes.
Let us begin to address those issues, but I don't see them seriously focusing on it. There's not even a debate about it. We're now talking about a new constitution. So them setting up a nice little committee. All right? Reality is this: we have got to open up the conversation. We have a group that we have formed, right? Called the Advocacy Network. And what we are doing is we are saying, look, Jamaicans who are serious about Jamaica, join with us, right? You don't have to become a necessary member of us. Just tell us what you are doing and let us start a conversation about where we are going with this new constitution. I think we need to focus a lot of time, effort, and energy on discussing where we want to go with this new constitution. Clearly, we want to get rid of the king. And clearly, we want to move away from the whole colonial, all the vestiges of colonialism, right? Including the fact that we have to go to the Privy Council. But more importantly, let us decide what are the critical things that we want for the future in terms of the governance of our country. You know, do we want to have a situation where every 4 years on a fixed date, you have elections? Yes. Why? Because right now it is in the purview of the Prime Minister to call it when he wants. When him thinks him can win an election, boop, tomorrow morning them call it, and all him have to give is like, I think 3 or 4 weeks. And that's it. Ridiculous. Those days done. We need to move forward. No. Other thing is, you know, I argue that public sector companies and organizations need to be treated like companies on the stock exchange. They need to make quarterly reports of what their plans are, what they have achieved in the last quarter, their financials, and they state what they are going to do in the next quarter. They need to report to the public, and it must be on them website. They must publicize it. Things must be transparent. You have a contract you need somebody to do cleaning of the prisons. You put it out there to tender, people tender, and you choose the best proposal. Not because them is PNP or JLP, you're going to choose them, or the man is a friend of yours or whatever. Foolishness. You understand? I can speak from experience, you know. I put in a bid with a set of people the other day on a contract. When it was assessed technically, 95% was our score. The next man get 80%, right? What happened then is them open the financial proposals. Our proposal came in at 17 million. The other man proposal that come in at 21 million. Them give it to the other man. We say, what is this? Crazy, right? Them say, oh, our estimate was 21 million. And he closest to our estimate.
Oh, and for God's sake.
You can do what you say you're going to do for 17 million. Now, I've never heard of anything so ridiculous. I went all the way up to the permanent secretary in the ministry, right? And I went to the various people in terms of contracts, commission, and all that. And you know what all of them point me to? A clause in the bid document, which says, in the final analysis, the minister shall decide.
Oh.
So guess what? What is the use of all this facade about tendering if we are going to set it up so that in the final analysis, if the minister choose somebody and is him friend or him cousin or him auntie or whatever, them get the contract and you not get it? That can't work.
No.
And also the country for run.
Well, you know, Robert, if again, I'm referring to the platform SosoBone Media Network, because when you go there, you're going to find Trevor Monroe with the report about the schools and the, you know, that way back in 1962 when, you know, when all the various contracts were being governed with a body, and then it was turned over to the political ministers and it blew up. Yes. So I hate to say that, yes, when you find that they had a proposal that was more than yours, I would have to figure that there was a line there, maybe a line called kickback that, you know, you never had on yours.
Well, like I tell you this much, my record in the public and private sector has always been, my hands are above board. And you can look all the time because I now take nothing under no table. You understand?
Yes.
My integrity
well, not what you take on it, you know, is what the insinuation is that you have a project that you can do for 17. They had calculated at 21 because you are not on the same page as they are.
Yeah, well, agreed. All I'm saying though, that we need to become right now, you know, when you talk to the international agencies and you talk to local people, you talk to everybody says Jamaica corrupt. Jamaica is a scam country and all them things. We need to get rid of that reputation.
Yes.
It needs to start from the top.
Yes.
We have an integrity commission that put out a code of conduct the other day, right? Who has signed it?
Probably the opposition.
reality is that apparently the opposition leader signed it. I don't know how many of his members have signed it, right? But, you know, him do have a thief, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a situation where the leader of the leader of the government and the members of parliament and all the senior executives in the various public sector agencies, I would love to know how many of them sign it. As far as I am aware, none of them. And that is ridiculous. We need to have some you know, rules that we abide by in terms of the way we run our country. Mm-hmm. And it's simple for us to sign these things and agree to them and adhere to them.
Yes.
You understand? And monitor that these things are done. The big problem right now is that we're not really towing the line with respect to anything. We have people who, the other day, there was this big blow up about people with hundreds of tickets for traffic offenses. Mm-hmm. And then what you do? You say, listen, as of tomorrow morning, everybody must pay up. And then from here on in, we're going. You drive on the road today and yesterday and the day before, the people them still are driving the same way. Them no business. And
absolutely. The motorbikes and everybody.
What's the use of this? If people feel that rules are made to be broken, right? And you can get away with it. Look at what happened with the hold-up of the Brinks truck, right? A few days ago. I mean, they are now going into bars and in front of the people who is in the bar. Them say, you what, we come for the money in them machine now. Whoop, 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 and them lick it and then take away the money.
Morning, noon, and night.
It's bad. And what we have to do is we have to have a serious reckoning with ourselves about what we want as a future. Because what we have right now ain't working. Right. It ain't working for the majority of the people in the country. It might be working for a set of people at a certain level who are happy and driving them big car and have them pretty house and all that, right? I have been around. This year, I'm going to be 75 years, but let me explain something to you, right? I've been around the system for a long time. I don't think I've seen the haves versus the have-nots in as wide a gap as ever before. It was bad before, and it has been bad because we inherited a lot of it from slavery. But to be honest with you, nowadays, we should be damn thing they should be behind us. Because this is a rich country, you know. This is look here, one of the richest things that we have that separate us from the rest of the world. Very simple. The people, the culture, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we operate, right? Everybody in the world want to talk like a Jamaican, dance like a Jamaican, sing like a Jamaican, right? And what has happened is reggae, if you look throughout the world now, them have reggae bands making a whole heap of money all over the world, in every country.
Yes.
And them take the reggae beat and them take the reggae music and them put it into different languages. And guess what? They're making a whole heap of money. But where we then? We don't even have a venue that is proper in Kingston. Kingston's supposed to be the cultural capital of the Caribbean. Right? Do we have a proper venue where you can go and it don't broke all the night noise, rule them and everything? No. What are we doing?
Yeah.
We have some of the most fabulous musicians in Jamaica, but we don't have a venue that them can lego them music and tell the world what it is like and invite people to share with us. You know, ridiculous.
Trevor, if you don't mind, I just wanted to say, you know, you understand why I asked Robert to join us, because he's echoed everything that I feel, and that's why the passion came to do this Villages as Business program, which the IDB has just asked me now to submit a proposal privately, not through government, because they recognize what he has said is happening. They're not stupid, they know what's happening. And he has a passion, like I do, to make things right. And the community people are very talented and so on, which he has said, but they don't have any way out of where they're going, and then they wonder why we have crime and we have the what do you call it, scammers and the rest of it.
Well, you know,
let me touch something else. I'm actually having a meeting today with the PIOJ to discuss the possibility of accessing some of the funds that are available through the various green funds internationally, and also looking at further debt swaps. The last debt swap that was done for nature was in 2004, and I was very fully involved in that whole process, right? We got the United States to essentially allow us to not pay back the United States about 20 million US dollars, but to pay it into a fund which is currently managed by the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica. That fund is now being used for environmental protection and development of forest reserves and things like that, as well as we have a portion of it that goes to child development. That whole arrangement with the United States comes to an end in 2024.
Okay.
What I have been doing and going to the government and saying, look, let us talk about new debt swaps. Currently, Jamaica owes through bilateral loans about 700 million US dollars, most of it to China.
Right.
Allow us to talk to China so that we can sit down as a government and an NGO and discuss with them the possibility of moving some of this debt, maybe not all of it, into nature and child development projects, right? If you notice, and if you're keeping up to date with what is happening, we were the leaders in this area from back in 1990, okay? Around about late 80s, 90, early 90s, when we created the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica out of a debt swap, okay? Nowadays, Latin America is doing it, as well as recently Barbados, through Mia Motley, they were able to negotiate a debt swap with the IDB as a partner. And what is happening now is that they're looking at protecting their shoreline and essentially all of the reefs and things like that, right?
Yes.
That's their focus. We should be focusing on that as well. But in addition to that, what we want to do is we want to focus a lot more attention on our children's development and education.
Yes.
Right? I don't know how many of you are involved in schools in Jamaica right now. I'm associated with my alma mater, which is Monroe College. And let me tell you something. We don't have a biology lab. We don't have a chemistry lab. We don't have a physics lab. Everything is now being done online. Okay? Teaching as well as laboratory experiences are essentially virtual because the facilities at the school are not being maintained properly. Why? Because the government don't give enough money to the schools. But we talk about free education, all right? And we talk about the fact that we really don't want nobody from the parents or whatever to pay any money. That's fine. I don't have a problem with free education. But you have got to recognize that if the government is saying free education, they've got to put more money into the coffers for the schools.
Yes, right.
The schools are not able to survive. Now, old boys can come to the table and put in some things and all that, but we can't carry the whole school, and we cannot replace the government. What has got to happen is a much bigger portion that is going now of the budget into education, because that is the future. That is the pick them who will run things around the road, right? I meet with a whole heap of young people who are recent graduates from university, and them bright bad, you know.
Yes.
But the big problem is that many of them are not seeing the opportunities, and the mentoring that is taking place is limited. Mentoring is limited. Who are they to turn to as a mentor? Many of them, you're finding now that some of them are even looking up to scammers. Them looking up to not the right mentors. You understand?
Right.
And I think that we have to change those approaches to things. We have to recognize that, Lord, man, let us begin to look at what is happening with the least affected or the people with the least in them pocket, and let us find a way to improve their situation. Give them education, give them opportunities, give them the right approaches to things, you know, even basic manners, you know. Yes. Sometimes I wonder about it, because I know I've helped some people recently, and when them leaving me or them going out or anything, as a party, You remember there's a word in life called thanks?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Gratitude. You can't believe it. Man, come to you and them say, you know, boy, rough times, da. And, you know, I don't believe in just handing out money. Like a man come to me the other day and said to me, boy, boss, me hungry body now. I said, no problem, party. I'm going inside to buy 2 patty. Could I buy 2 patty for you? Him said, boss, that is the greatest thing on earth. I come outside and I give him the 2 patty. Him said, boss, you don't understand, you know. This helped me for the entire day because 2 patty will carry me through the entire day. Beautiful. Love that. Right? But the fact is this, that you're giving a man a fish or you're giving him a patty for a day. And that's how we need to operate. What we really need to operate is we need to understand what is going on with some of these people and begin to develop them in a way where they can make a serious contribution to the development of the country.
Yes.
They need to be partners with us.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going on too long.
No, listen, you know, as I say now, the diaspora does not get enough of people like you. Okay? Typically, as I said to Diane earlier, we have a lot of events in the diaspora, and they're always bringing up some minister of government who comes with a paintbrush and they paint. And when they stand on your stage for 20 minutes and they talk, after they finish talking, people start dancing. Okay? After they finish speaking, no one discusses anything that takes place on the stage. People start dancing. 10 minutes after he gets off the stage, you don't remember one word he said. 3 months after, you don't remember who the guest speaker was. Yes. That is our state. So for me, you know, the platform that we are involved in, the SosoBone Media Network, is a platform. It says it's a place to listen and a place to be heard. Okay? So that just yesterday, I had Dennis Hilton from the journalists for about an hour, and he's posted on the platform right now. And this will be posted on the platform. And as I said to Diane earlier, it will also be posted on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the various e-blast lists that we have. It will be going out. The fact that I do a radio program in New York 6 days per week is only a compliment to that. Because typically you say that when you're listening to radio, you only have maybe 5% of the population at that time, maybe, no, not even 5% of the population is listening to the radio at that time.
Right.
The platform that we have here is one where this will be 365.
Yeah.
So whatever time zone you're in.
Yeah. You can watch it at your leisure.
You can start watching it and come back to it tomorrow and finish watching it. And this is the type of access to information that we need. Okay.
Well, I tell you something, you know, we need to have discussions on your program about serious issues. For instance, this whole thing of where are we going as a country and what do we have as a new constitution? If we are to become a republic, what form will that republic take?
Yes, yes.
What are the critical things that need to be written in stone in terms of the future of our country? Those are serious issues. You know, when you go back in history, you know, and you look at some of the people who were guiding us from a long time, like Marcus Garvey, when you study how he approached things and what he said and what he did, he was a total revolutionary in his time.
Yes.
And think about the impact he had, not in Jamaica, but in the United States, in Africa, in the entire world. What he said is, look, black man, get up, stand up, and be proud of yourself and your skin and everything about you, right? Because the fact is, you know, we still have people in Jamaica who believe black not right, you know. So them whole heap of things around the corner if I put on them face to turn themselves white. Foolishness.
Not only in Jamaica, we have some in the diaspora too.
I know, all over the world. But the reality is this, look here, the most beautiful woman you can see in the world, as far as me concerned, is a beautiful black woman. You understand? Because their skin, no, they're not like it in the world. And it turn up forever. You know, coming like plenty other skin that fade. Right? I'm not a totally black person, but at the same time, I'm glad for the little tar brush. Because reality, yeah, you know, but whatever you want to call, the reality is, you know, when you go to places like China and you go to places like the United States,
they love it.
You understand?
And
when we go over there, but there are certain things that I cherish. You know what I cherish? I visit Japan when I was director of tourism, and I show off my little blue passport. You remember that time that it used to be a Jamaican blue?
Yes.
And listen to me now, man. It's like God come to earth. All of a sudden, all the people living in the place a ton. He's from Jamaica. Of course, you know, I'm asking the first question. So you know Bob Marley? Me say, yeah, man, I'm a cousin. You know, because everybody in Jamaica a cousin. You understand?
All right.
Reality is this, that our little blue passport is something that going to plenty countries. When you go places like in Africa, right? And them here say he's a Jamaican.
That's true.
Thank God for you. Because
that's the feedback I got.
We have a reputation from the days going way back, right? Especially from people like Michael Manley. Made it clear that we are independent of the fangs of the various powers, and we are going to fight against apartheid and things like that. Bob Marley, all his songs and his music speak about peace, love, understanding, and stand up, get up, stand up. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, man. No, why we not follow them something there?
You know,
that are what you call apologizing almost. The reality is this, you know, this reparation argument shouldn't be an argument, you know.
No, it's a done deal.
we were taken out of Africa, brought to the Caribbean, and suffered under the hands of the king and queen.
Yes. Yes.
And we are still retain king and queen as the head of our state. Number one. Number two, we still have a privy council. No, man. We need to get up, stand up, and stand up for our rights and become Jamaicans that are proud and are leading the world. We are not double voting. In other words, we're not taking orders where we are told, you see, when I vote for Venezuela to be out of something, you need to vote with me. You see, when I vote against Cuba, you need to vote with me. You see, when I decide set Trinidad now toward the line, you need to vote with me against Trinidad. Yeah, that is so foreign. That is what happening recently in this country.
Well, yes, that you know, even at the even at the UN.
That's what OAS, UN, all over the place. We have become, you know, who is leading the way in the Caribbean now? A woman.
Mia.
A lady called Mia.
Yeah.
Right? I will vote for her every day. Why? Because look here, Barbados is a pinch of Jamaica, but guess what?
Little pinch.
Turn up strong, and she is the most solid woman in the world right now. When she go United Nations and when she go Africa and when she go wherever, everybody sit down in them seat and listen carefully.
Yes.
Because she's not chatting bullshit. She's talking about serious issues. She's talking about reorganizing the whole world financial system.
New world order.
And recognizing that, hey, a lot of the debt that we have incurred, you know, we really should have it written off. Why? Because it is illegal. A lot of it is a situation where we were sucked, you know, as a country. When if you think we bad, what about Haiti?
Oh, don't even go there.
Oh my God.
Haiti was sucked to the point where long after them was so-called independent, they must still pay back.
They're still paying now. They haven't finished paying.
It's ridiculous. So you wonder why Haiti is in the condition it's in?
They're still paying.
Ridiculous. We are heading in the same direction as Haiti because of the fact that we still have what I call lackeys, right? That are perpetuating the exploitation of our country without recognizing that their role is supposed to deal with the small man in the country and uplift them.
But I tell you this, just last week, Mayor Martin visited France, met with Macron, and they're developing this new initiative for the, that is supposed to take place in the Caribbean. And when you look at all the countries that were listed, 80 was missing from the list.
Well, you see what Macron going through right now.
Yes, 80.
Macron
80
have protests going on today.
The French-speaking island that they have been draining was missing from the list of islands that were on the platform that they're talking about.
If we think we bad in Jamaica, Haiti is 10 times worse. But the reality is this: if we don't watch ourselves, let me tell you something. I fly over Haiti and cry living in water. You know why? Every striking tree almost gone.
Oh God.
When I look up from Kingston now on the mountains, going up to Blue Mountain, everything around Kingston gone. Because developers and various other people decide, say, you know what, tree not supposed to dip on hillside. What you're supposed to have is concrete. Okay? I must tell you that if we don't build with some conscience about the environment and ensure that the environment is protected, and we stop just building concrete all over the place, we're crazy. If you look at Kingston now, we're building some high-rise buildings, okay? Talking about, I think, one going up to 27 stories. Do we have the fire capability to deal with Smaddy, who is on the 27th floor and them have a fire up there?
Thank you for saying that. Oh, I say it every day.
Are we developing the infrastructure and planning properly for development of our country? Or are we just interested in saying, oh, look at how development going in Jamaica. Everybody a build. Guess what? Careful, because it can be a bubble.
Yes.
Right now, plenty of people build a whole heap of place and them say, boy, I'm going to set it off here and and then suddenly finding there's a little problem here. Huh? And then there are people who buy them and trying to get people to rent them. And them can't find none. And the other side of the thing now is that plenty of people going into the Airbnb, right? So they're putting it out. Now, there are pluses and minuses with all these things, but nobody is properly analyzing what is taking place. And the whole question of urban planning and making sure that you leave green spaces and properly ensuring that you create an environment which is going to be conducive to proper development of mental and physical and other stability is not there. It's like, what really is happening is that politicians have been given too much power. The public sector, to a large extent, has been, emaciated, right? Because what you're doing is you're putting sycophants in many cases in charge of major organizations, and them don't have no qualification. And the only qualification is say that here what happened. Them say, Master Holiness, whatever you say me we do. Right? That can't work. That cannot work. What you need to do is you have got to choose people on the basis of their capacity and capability to be able to run serious organization. And they must have some qualifications that match the kind of job they're going to be doing. And you cannot be choosing people on the basis of whether them is PNP or JLP. Right? The other thing is you have boards of directors now, right? We say we're going to restructure the boards. We've been talking about it for years. What's happening? What is really happening with the restructuring of the boards? You're still having boards that are packed with 18 and 20 people that are all sycophants. Them all vote JLP and support JLP, or at current times them pay money to be able to be regarded as a support. Okay, that's not the way you need to choose proper boards of directors of public sector organizations. And as I was saying earlier, these public sector organizations should be reporting to us, the taxpayers, every quarter as to what them do, what them actually have as them financial situation, etc. Make quarterly reports, just like the companies on the stock exchange.
That's right.
You understand? Anyway,
well,
I think
let
I'm
me
going
say that when you reference Michael Manley, if you go to SosoBone platform, you're gonna find that he's there talking about he will not bow down on his knees, all of that stuff. If versus is us as an independent. You refer Mia Motley, you're gonna find her there as she speaks at the various places where she's championing and advocating, the climate change situation and what 1 degree or 5 degrees is going to cause when it comes to flooding and all those things. So all of this shows that we are locked in and we're tied into the same platform. Okay.
Look here. Let me tell you how bad it is. How can we decide that we are going to put up a candidate overnight after we go to a meeting in the Caribbean? We say, listen to me. We are going to support the lady who is a candidate from the Caribbean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we come home and 2 phone calls take place and boom-ups. We say, hold on. We have put up a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that the current lady have 2 years left and that the next set of leaders going to be from Africa.
Right.
So the entire African nation, them, except who we were able to convince to go along with us because we invite them here, we sit down with them and give them 2 wine or whatever. Point is this, that it was written on the wall long time, say, putting up a candidate from Jamaica was a non-starter. Mm-hmm. But a lot of this was born out of a problem in the UK by the then Prime Minister, who had a problem with the lady who was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we get involved in a cas that we're not supposed to involve in. We spend millions of dollars and take big trip, go all over Africa and, enjoy ourselves. And all this money is spent to naught.
Well, there's a whole Jamaican saying, Robert, that cockroach no business.
We are becoming a joke.
Cockroach the business in the
foreign affairs situation in terms of our policies and what we are doing and the way we're voting and the way we're acting is crazy, right? We are doing things in education where we are not paying enough attention to the details of what is happening in the schools. We have a health system that is falling apart because we talk about free health care, but guess what? When you go to the hospital, them don't have this, them don't have that, them don't have the other. And you are depleting the stock of nurses who, if you underpay them to the extent that them underpaid, all I'm going to do is pick up and go US. The other day, the US sent down here and thief off practically all the top nurses, right? When you look at Canada coming down here, and then you have people in the UK recruiting as well. You know why our situation in the health services is going downhill. Yes. Because everybody recognizes that Jamaican nurses are some of the best in the world. Why? Because we always take care of people. We know how to take care of auntie and cousin and everybody. And when we go foreign, any Jamaican who lives in the US will tell you the sweetest thing for them to have is a Jamaican nurse.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Fact is that we are nurturers. We are people who are lovers. We are people who take care, but we at the leadership level in the top echelons of both private sector and government are not paying enough attention to the situation that is occurring on the ground.
Yes.
And that is backfiring on the present government because all of a sudden you get a poll taken and I'm saying, where the PNP say to make them come up so in the polls. One thing, we never necessarily vote in government, 90% of the time in Jamaica is vote out because we're not happy. You understand?
Yes. Frying pan or fire, right?
Reality is this, that it's not necessarily that the PNP is saying anything that is great or revolutionary or anything like that. It's just that, boy, we didn't think say some faism take us because we didn't think say we was going to have prosperity. Prosperity, yes, it's happening, but for a very limited few, not for the masses. Anyway.
And
Me
yes,
sound like politician now, but me I tell you.
but you know, I was gonna also say to you know that one of the persons who I've been having some discussion with is actually J.L. Patterson.
Yeah,
Know?
Mr. Patterson. I
Yes.
went and heard him talk
Yes.
yesterday. Him talk
Yes.
nice.
I've actually had so I say 1 and 4 meeting with him in that sense, because again, access to the platform where information is shared and is made available is one of the problems that we identify going back, not just now, because the fact that country style tourism is such a low hanging fruit right now where the diaspora is concerned. We are not talking about all the family reunions that we're planning that we are going through these portals. Okay? That all the people who want to build houses in Jamaica who have been scammed by family members, okay, not by strangers.
That's right.
Not by strangers, but by family members, did not have a choice as to being able to engage a professional, trustworthy, accountable platform like CountryStyle, that we never know that these services are available, that the diaspora must be able to find a place where they can access this information.
Yeah.
And, even yesterday when I was speaking to Dennis Hilton, I mean, we identified the fact that even if we talk about we have a press or a media in Jamaica, that they're partisan, they're tribals. One belongs to this party, one belongs to the other party. Therefore, what you get is what the party wants you to hear relative to their perception of what they would like you to hear, so you would support them. Okay. So I was very excited when I look at some of the things that CountryStyle was doing. I say, yes, this is an alternate vision for us. And you have actually done very well, because you see, you have put some meat to the bone. As is our motto is SosoBone, which means like, so when I get that oxtail, you try to cut it, all you get is pure bone. The knife can't cut it. So SosoBone represents what our experience has been, whether it be from the political or from any other platform within our community. We say we don't get what we're supposed to get. There's no meat on the services. We only get SosoBone. Okay? So it rings very well with our people. Okay? So now they know that we have a platform where when you say, well, where can I get information? No, SosoBone, go to SosoBone. Because,
Well, I tell you, as I told you earlier, we have a advocates network that we're working on. I mean, right now is a small team, but we have a number of issues that we have taken on. And, even farm workers in Canada and so on who bawl out of the conditions, and it was dismissed at first. We put out a press release and we raised the issue as something that has to be properly investigated. Well, they put together an investigation team and they got a whitewash report, which we are not happy with, and the people are not happy with, and we're continuing to advocate for changes that are substantial in the program. Okay. But every issue that we take up is an issue of national importance.
Yes.
Right now, we're going to focus a great amount of energy on the discussion of the future of the country in terms of a new constitution, because we've got to focus a hell of a lot of energy on that. To me, whether the next election take place in 12 months or a year or 2 or whatever is irrelevant. The more important thing is to get this new constitution right. Because after that, we can choose a government that is going to be held to the coals if them mess up.
It may have to be a coalition too.
Well, the point is that it probably will not be a situation where you are, for instance, choosing a president because he is part of a political party,
right,
but choosing the right person.
Yes, that's the point.
Yes.
Okay. That is, to me, more important than choosing the JLP and choosing the PNP and them decide who's going to be a prime minister.
Yeah.
They almost decide who is our prime minister. You understand? Based on what them present to it. And when they speak, there are people that can be trusted.
Right. Because President...
That's the point.
You know, the most important thing in the world right now is trust.
we went over that with Diane earlier.
Yeah.
Some people to rat it. When them talk, you know, if them tell you one thing, believe me, you can never believe what them say. Because what? Them is great at talking beautiful. But when it comes to action, them fall short.
Okay,
right?
so
It's called plain talk.
So the question, Robert, so the question now I've been going around that, you know, the table is, how does the diaspora leverage themselves to support the initiatives that, you know, are on the ground with you guys, in place, but one, they're not transparent to us. Therefore, sometimes we're listening to the drumbeat on the other side without being able to say to them, listen, we see alternate programs in place that will enrich our economy, that will cause multiple circulation of funds in our villages, okay? And because the diaspora have to be able to leverage, so that's some of the things that you're doing. And so when Diane said that our focus right now is on the diaspora, then that makes a lot of sense, because trust me, everyone will tell you that the diaspora is carrying so much of the heavy lifting that's taking place in Jamaica.
And therefore, every member who is registered, right, should be able to vote in the elections in Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Right now, the two things that drive in the economy of Jamaica is number one, tourism, and number two, remittances.
Yes.
Okay? So the diaspora is contributing a hell of a lot to the development of this country.
Mm-hmm.
What they cannot continue to be ignored in terms of their ability to have a say in the governance of their country.
Right.
Yep.
Here,
very important.
When you talk to people, I visit the United States and other places in the world, but mainly US on a regular basis, right? So me have plenty cousin and auntie and friend and all that in the US and Canada. Mm-hmm. And the reality is this, them just love to come home, right? Oh, but they feel concerned about a hell of a lot of things, you know?
Yes.
The level of crime. The
healthcare.
If you come in here and you get sick to rot it, are you going to be properly taken care of?
Yeah, healthcare.
Fact is, them have whole heap of family here who tell them the bad story them about how them sucking salt. Mm-hmm. Reality is that things are not going well in Jamaica. But we have some of the brightest people in the world, in the diaspora.
Yes.
You check out hospitals. If you check out look at the lady who is recently the first jet pilot,
yeah,
United States, Jamaica. First woman.
But we have a vice president. We have a vice president down there, you know.
Right. We have Jamaica. So the fact is that we have a tremendous set of assets in the diaspora.
Yes.
And we are not properly utilizing them in terms of their role in the governance of our country.
That's why we have them as our leaders now.
99% of them, you know, are so committed and so involved because them have family and friend and all that in Jamaica who them constantly helping out with something.
Yes.
Okay. But in addition to that, you have some of them would also love to come back home, but feel a little bit unsure, you know? I'm going to tell you the truth. It is important for us to create an environment where people feel safe and secure in coming home.
Yes.
An example. We talk about crime. Okay? Crime, you can't have one solution. There's a whole heap of things you have to do to sort out this crime situation. Okay, number one, you have to, as I indicated earlier, take some of the money out of housing trust and begin to address the issues in the communities that are the ghetto areas where a lot of the crime is coming from, and the quarreling and the gang fighting and all them type of things. But in addition to that, if you want to improve security, The world is gone electronic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we get the private sector and the government together and we decide, look, here are 500 spots that we need to have cameras.
Cameras.
Right? And these are all going to be connected into a system which is monitored by the police and can be kept, you know, tabs on.
Mm.
Before you know what is what, when a man move in one area and him decides to do something, the cameras pick him up and the police can track him and trace him and get him.
That's
But
right.
it requires leadership. It requires somebody sitting down and saying, look, government is going to lead the way, but every private sector company and every individual need to look into them own community, them own area where them have business, and let us link the cameras and let us begin to talk to each other about security. All right? To me, that is such a no-brainer. When I was at the UDC, we were working on that downtown because the United Nations wanted to set up their headquarters down where the current headquarters for the Laodicea is, right? And they're moving all the offices downtown. And I said, why don't we get together with Bank of Jamaica, Scotiabank, Grace Kennedy, you know, all the big companies and all the people who have business downtown, get the UN on board and let us get the UDC who have offices down there. Let us all sit down around the table and work out with the police how we are going to connect all our systems. Because all of we have camera and all of we have security systems, but them not talking to each other and them not collaborating. You understand?
Yes.
Well, bossy, let me tell you something. Because I took an initiative like that, it wasn't necessarily in keeping with what everybody else wanted. And furthermore, who am I as a vice president of an organization to go out there and do something without getting clearance from the minister and from the prime minister and from the this and I said, look, man, I don't know. When I was director of tourism, you know, me did all the things that were kind of off the wall. Okay? I mean, I pick up the phone and call the head of Swiss here and call the head of Iceland there and say, look, Paddy, we have a Gulf War going on. We have a situation where you have planes sitting on the ground because them can't go to North Africa and them can't go to the Middle East. I don't partner with me and let me drop 25,000 US on the table and we promote a link between Iceland and Jamaica for the summer where we bring startups. All right?
Use the planes then.
And you use your plane, you get money for that, Me get business in Jamaica and we're happy, we smile all the way to the bank. Before I know what is what, we tripled the airlift to Jamaica from out of Europe, right? Then I went and met with the people in Japan. And I said, listen, man, you Japanese love Jamaican music and you love anything Jamaican. Because when as I told you earlier, when I went there, the blue passport was like, you know,
gold, man.
Jamaica arrived. Anyway, the point is this, that we had an arrangement with JAL, the Japanese airline, to move people from Japan into ports in the US and then connect from the US to Jamaica. We moved from 4,000 visitors to 50,000 visitors in a matter of 2 years. Okay? Don't ask what we are today because we backslide. We go back to the situation where we're only focusing on North America and Europe. But anyway, the second thing was Latin America. When I went in there, I said, but hold on. Me have cousin and auntie and friend and all that all over Latin America. And them all love Jamaica, right? And if you go Brazil, you know, there are certain artists in Jamaica. I don't know if I can even, anyway, you know about it. The fact is that there are artists that live in Brazil sometime and live in Jamaica, right? But there's a big reggae music thing down in Brazil.
Listen, right? When Brazil was in the World Cup, man, Jamaicans were so excited. They thought you thought they were the reggae boys.
Connections, and if you go to Colombia, to rot it, let me tell you something. Every Colombian is like a Jamaican, but them talk Spanish.
Yes.
You understand? That is how it goes.
Yeah, but we know we talk about the diaspora down there that went to, they all built the Panama Canal and never came back home. But they, you know, and their offspring is the Spanish diaspora.
Anyway, Paddy, I have to run because I have people calling me that I promised I was going to talk to.
Well, we're going to continue this conversation on different subjects down the road, okay?
Yeah, man.
Well, let me thank you, Robert, for spending this wonderful time giving our diaspora some information. And we will continue this at another time. Now, Dan and I are going to wrap up some things now.
Okay, fine. Anyway, thanks for having me. And y'all,
it's important.
You take care of yourself here, baby, and don't make them downtrodden you.
Well, right, you know why I brought Robert on, because he had to give you the background there, which is important.
And that's important.
Trevor, all the best, buddy.
My pleasure, my brother. My
all
pleasure.
Right, all the best. Take care.
Okay. So, Diane, now we know, having put flesh on the bones, and the diaspora sees and hear everything that they already knew. But somebody in the platform is honest enough to talk about those things. That is where the trust comes in, because you're not creating a layer of cloud over what's happening and seek to tell them that everything is fine. They don't have anything to worry about, because that is what we're accustomed to hearing. Everybody comes up and tell you, oh, great Jamaica is, nothing is wrong, everything is fine, and everybody is. And I keep on saying, listen, when I left Jamaica, there was a long line outside of the US Embassy. And the last time I was there, the line was longer. And the only time we're going to know that Jamaica is fine is when they don't want to leave and there's no line outside of the US Embassy.
That's correct. But what I want you to know is that I know him as Bobby, right? It's Robert. Mm-hmm. Bobby is one of our main partners and consultants with our community tourism. Yes. I have many more like him.
Yes.
Valerie is the one I was telling you about, who are plain talkers and who will tell you the reality of the situation.
That's what I need.
And you have it through CountryStyle, because we have a large network.
Yes.
And I'm talking about people in the community I'd like to introduce you to, who are doing their part to improve their community, like in Bluefields area and so on. The environment crisis that we have a major crisis here, which is being addressed by some community people. I think that your platform, it suits us very well, because we are not trying to downgrade Jamaica. We are saying we're going to upgrade Jamaica, but with community participation, and for the diaspora to understand what is happening, or what we say in Jamaica, what I want. I think it's important that you know that we have a number of people like Bobby and Valerie and others who want a platform that we can tell you what is happening. Yes. And we're not trying to disrespect the government or the past. So we're saying, hey, we have people here who understand what's happening. Yes. And what we want to do is to be a part of what it is. I've always felt that the government should be more facilitating government, because we have a number of NGOs, what he mentioned to you about what they're doing, what we do, and so on. And what they need to do is bring us to the table and for us to be able to plan the way forward for Jamaica.
Well, Dan, in the long-term process of what we are doing right now,
yes,
is that all these institutions that are connected to you, whether they be small hotels or in-homes or Airbnb, whatever it is, that we are going to have them now hooking up on the internet to this platform. So when they're sitting in their restaurant and you're looking at the big screen, they're listening to Robert talking. They're listening to you talking on the big screen, coming off the SosoBone Media Network. Okay? So the information and the discussion and the interviews that we are doing across the world, people in their business are saying, no, our system is tuning into the SosoBone Media Network, and we're hearing exactly what is happening. Okay? Not the patented 3 o'clock news or the 10 o'clock news, but they can actually hear what is happening from different people. Okay?
Yes, yes.
From different people. So just like the platform is there right now, I have people here, when I look at the logistics, they're tuned into the platform 16 hours per day while they're in their kitchen. They're listening to the radio on their tablets. Okay? And they're hearing, and it's a consistent streaming of information that is there, or they can pick and choose what they want to listen to. If they want to listen to CountryStyle update as to what is available, what are the specials for Easter, you know, all the things that that you're proposing to do, it is there. Okay, a platform that is not diluted, you know, but that is focused on building our community.
But do you understand that the Invest Jamaica conference they had, there was nothing there about investing in communities. And I mentioned that to the IDB person who was in charge, representing IDB. And he said they would like to meet with us, CountryStyle, in relation to setting up a proposal. And that's what I'm working on now, to submit. Because what has to happen is that we have a lot of projects, potential projects, existing projects that need investment. And that's why the Community Tourism Fund was created, so that the diaspora could be responsible. And they have a board of directors already. And we would like to have them know the projects. So what I feel good about is that we have a gentleman called Dr. Knife. You know Dr. Knife?
Yes, we have spoken to that, yes.
Okay. Dr. Knife.
He's also on SosoBone right now.
Right, well, he's a plain talker too. And Dr. Knife likes the Community Tourism Fund. And he said he offered, and I haven't even been able to follow up with him yet because I had to wait on the diaspora to come back with me about where we're going with it. But he offered to be the assessment committee chairman so the projects that we're trying to compile now, a database, will go to him and his committee, and they will assess it and be able to tweak whatever has to be tweaked before it goes to the board of the diaspora. Yes. But we want the diaspora to be in charge of this fund. And then CountryStyle, all of them have to be members of CountryStyle, by the way. That's for right. them to be recognized. Those who can pay, and those who can't pay, that's fine. What we want is for them to be identified with the mission and the vision that we have. And once we have the business plans done for the communities and whatever projects they're doing, then we will be able to have investment, whether grant funding or whether low interest funding. We don't need the government to play that part. We can do it with the diaspora, and we want the diaspora to be in charge of this program because it's too long. I mean, I lost my hotel. There's so much things that have gone on in the past. We need to show that we have people here who have the passion for the country and who want to tell you the truth of what is happening and the hitches that we have. And we're not trying to condemn any government person or so, but we need more collaboration. We need them to be involved with the community programs that are out there. What Bobby was saying, I endorse everything Bobby said. That's why I brought him on, because he can tell you everything that are going on. And he was the director of tourism. He gave us support. He supported the community tourism program that we had. And I think that once you start meeting the different individuals, you're going to get more excited, because I have quite a few more that I can bring on the program. And I'm willing to be a partner with you on that.
Well, the diaspora has been honestly waiting for the opportunity to actually invest in Jamaica. That is why at different times, they have raised the issue of a diaspora bond. Can't you create a diaspora bond? All of those things have been put out there by the diaspora as they seek to find a window that they can trust to go forward, that there's accountability, okay? And that is why I say I'm so excited about this, because I tell you that not many people in our diaspora know about this window or this door into our community. Not many of them knows about it. And this is something that, we have, will be addressed. I like Robert's spirit, because it feeds just into some of the frustration that we have in our diaspora. Okay, we know that a lot of us want to come back home, but the first thing that they raise is a measure of healthcare versus what they're accustomed to especially the baby boomers like ourselves, who think in terms of having access to healthcare as something that is very important at a certain stage in our life.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the program that you have is something that should appeal to us, our ability to know that there's processes in place that takes us back into our community, so that when we make the calls right now, we know we are talking about going back home, really going back home.
Yes, you're going back home for sure.
You're going back home.
And we can check out whatever it is that you have in mind and let you know if there's any hitch or whatever. But do you know about making connections work with Rudy Page in the UK?
No, I'm not. I was about to ask you if you are familiar with Dr. Claire Nelson.
Yeah, well, he is a partner with us, and he has put together a number of programs, and one coming up now for this year. I want you to know that he is supportive of what we're doing with the Village Business, and he's branded it Community Economic Tourism.
Okay.
And so what we are doing is that we have embraced it for our training program for the entrepreneurship training that we're putting together. As I mentioned to you before, the IDB project, we're going to include that in there to show diaspora connection right there. And he has included us with the Augustown development that he has. So it shows that we're not dealing with only urban, with only rural, we're dealing with urban.
Okay. Are you familiar with Dr. Carl Rodney and Faye Rodney?
Dr. who?
Rodney, the Rodneys, Carl and Faye Rodney.
Well, I'm not familiar with what they're doing, but I do know who you're talking about.
They own the New York Carib News for the last 40 years. They're my media partners. They do print media. The New York.
But we have Theo and Sharon Chambers, who are Carib Newsroom. I don't know if you know them.
Okay, well, you can Google it, the New York Carib News, NYC Carib News, when you're finished. Because the whole political platform in New York goes through them for endorsement when elections are taking place. Okay. So people like Eric Adams, Maya Miley, you name it, we normally interview them, and they'll seek to get our endorsement when elections of different magnitude are taking place.
Okay.
But you should be familiar with Yvette Clark.
Who is that?
Yvette Clark.
I know Yvette Clark, yes.
And you know?
Yes.
You know Mama Una Clark is in Jamaica now.
I didn't know that, no.
No, she has retired back to Jamaica with Leslie, so she's in Red Hills.
Oh, that's good to know. It's good to know.
Yes, she's in Red Hills where she is. That's where, so she's back home because she, among other things.
And I'm dealing with Claire Nelson.
Oh, Dr. Claire Nelson, I'm on her committee.
Yeah. She's on our board for the Come Fund.
Yeah, because she has been IADB for a long time. No, I'm one of her. She consults me in marketing and other things.
And Curtis Ward, Ambassador Ward.
Of course.
Yeah, he's on board with us as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
We're gradually getting them coming together with what we're doing. But your platform can help us a lot, and we look forward to your support.
Yes. Well, I will find this whole process is gonna go in bits and pieces.
Yes.
Okay, because our attention span is so short.
Yes, I know, I understand. So, what you can do, I will definitely have you as one of our partner media members.
Okay.
Because we want to show the diaspora support for whatever we're doing. We have to make the communities feel better, the leaders out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is important. So again, I think this was very good.
Thank you.
Because having gone through this generalization, now the next times now we're talking about specifics.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So I'll get back to you with you're gonna see snatches of this, as I said, you can break this whole process up into pieces now that addresses, so you can introduce it to the diaspora where they have 3-4 minutes, they can look at something and digest it.
Yes.
And in the process understand that there are services there that they never knew about.
That's right. And I'm glad you use the word services, because we cover not just designing vacation experience and so on. We're talking about helping to represent them with their own community, or if they have a house they're building or whatever. We have people on board that are trustworthy, that will help you.
Yes, and any one of them presently who might be looking to promote their business in the diaspora now.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they don't have to wait, and to start that process. One of the things I need you to send me, you need to send me the logo for CountryStyle Tourism.
Yes, I can send you that.
Because that is something that I can now put on our website, on the SosoBone website.
Okay.
So that as people go there and it registers, they want, well, what is CountryStyle Tourism?
Right. And you can also put our present website, visitcommunities.com.
Well, yes,
Jamaica.
Yes, you can only put that link there so that when it opens up now, they can see what the background of it is all about.
Right. That's right.
Yes,
okay,
so,
that's great. And when the diaspora gentleman Owen Winter, who is based in the UK, he's putting together a new website for us that will include everything.
Okay.
You'll get that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And you need to make a listing now of the available people that you might have for speaking roles.
Yes.
Okay. So that we can find a way to book them on some of our radio stations that we have for short interviews.
That's right.
As I say, it's one cocoa that's gonna fill the basket. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
thank you.
So when I'm looking at my total of that, no, it's never a trivial thing for me. It never has been, never will be. Okay.
That's right.
Because in the long run, I said to people that even though the platform is not a non-profit, but it has to be owned by our people.
Yeah. Did you get the outline of the Village Business program that I had put together? The outline?
I don't think so.
Abstract? No. Okay, I'll make sure you get that because that outlines everything we are talking about.
Okay, great. Okay? Great. So it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for being on our platform this morning.
Where are you from in Jamaica?
Portland.